Hi, welcome to Inside the International Space Station Flight Control Room. Today I have a special guest with us. We've been watching just now some live downlink of Steve Swanson aboard the space station, who is actually preparing one of the spacesuits that he will be wearing during a contingency spacewalk that is now scheduled to take place on April 23rd. That is provided the SpaceX Dragon is launched on April 18th, this Friday. Today, right now, I have NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy. Chris is a two-time flyer. He flew aboard this space shuttle on STS-127.
127, yep.
And then also did a long-duration tour aboard the space station this time last year on Expedition 35 and 36.
Yeah, a year ago I was up there. It's hard to believe.
And he actually did 3 spacewalks, and he's actually working to help come up with the procedures for this spacewalk that will be to repair the what we've been calling the MDM. It's the multiplexer-demultiplexer that is outside the space station. So first of all, explain real briefly what is the MDM? What is that exactly?
It's basically a computer, and there are several different kinds. There's some higher level ones, control MDMs, we call them Tier 1, and then the Tier 2 MDMs, these of which the external MDM is one of those. Many of them, or most of them, are inside. This one happens to be outside, and it controls the some structural and mechanical things. But what we care about this week, relative to the SpaceX, are the targe angles and the solar array rotary angles. And if the second MDM were to fail, we wouldn't have the ability to control those. So that's why it's such an important piece to the whole equation.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Real quick, also, just describe what what the task is going to be at hand that Swanson and Mastracchio have at going out and replacing it. They're actually taking one that is on board right now. They have a replacement. I think you have a model here.
We happen to have one right here, as a matter of fact. So the spare is inside, just like you mentioned. It's inside with them. Mm-hmm. It's older, though, and so they need to do some work on the inside to update it and make sure that it's got the right software, and the ground teams are doing all that procedure right now. Once they do that, and they're ready to go outside next week, this is what the box looks like. And basically there's computer cards, just like in your home computer at home, inside this big metal box. What those guys will do is there's 3 bolts. The center one is, we call it the jacking bolt, because it actually drives the box in and out.
Okay.
And then these 2 outside bolts just kind of make it secure. There's no connection. This connection here won't be on the real box. All of the electrical connections happen on the back side of the box. We call them blind mate connectors, because once the box slides in, as you screw it in, all the connectors are made in the back.
Okay.
So all they really have to do is these 3 bolts. It's pretty straightforward in terms of EVA jobs, you know. We anticipate it to go quickly, but as with anything in space operations, particularly EVAs, you never know what's going to be thrown at you.
Right, and you would know that more than anyone.
Right.
So also just briefly just describe for me what's your involvement in coming up with the procedure for their spacewalk.
It's actually been kind of fun for me. Just like you said, last year I was up in space and doing my things, and plans and procedures would arrive electronically, and we'd read them and be ready to go. Now, being part of the team of folks that are putting all those plans and procedures together, it's kind of neat. And there's a large kind of army of folks here right here in this building, Building 30, putting all that together. I'm representing the crew office and the spacewalk, more specifically the spacewalk branch, as we kind of figure out all the nuances of what is needed to go outside.
Right, and I understand even in just coming up with how you would go about and do the spacewalk, you actually do perform it under the water at the MBL. In fact, you have a run scheduled for Friday.
Scheduled on Friday,
correct?
So we'll be doing the same job and going through some of the contingencies, the what ifs, and we call it the crib sheet, you know, which is basically the answer to any and all problems that we can think of. And of course, we can't possibly think of everything, but as best we can, we have all those answers in our hip pockets, so as they get thrown at us on the game day, we can give the crew a quick answer.
Yeah, very good. Okay, and so from a crew member's point of view, explain to me what that's like to get that, okay, you got to go out and do a contingency spacewalk, because that's obviously an interruption in what your normal timeline would be.
Right. Well, to be quite honest, it's exciting.
Okay.
A spacewalk is a highlight of most crew members if they get the chance get a chance to do them, and I was lucky enough to have that happen to me. So I remember very specifically, we had a leaky ammonia system. There was a pump that we had to change out back. I guess about this time last year,
With
as I
the
was
Luca Parmitano on the suit.
with the first one with
the
Tom
first, oh, yeah,
Tom
that's right.
Marshburn. That's when he and I woke up one morning and we're told to do a spacewalk the next day. A little bit the same situation now, and it's an exciting feeling. There's so much you have to do, and you're very much all right. You have a few minutes of just your own personal emotions, and then you get on to business with all of the work that has to happen to make it so. Basically, making the spacesuits right and making the equipment ready to go.
Like these guys. I mean, they've been working right now.
And they have the added task of dealing with some of the suit issues that have been a problem for us for the last, I guess, 9 months or so, since last summer when Luca and I had the water problem, or Luca had the water problem in his suit.
Sure.
So,
and what are they doing about that now?
Yeah, there are 3 good spacesuits up there.
Okay.
It turns out the one that Luca was wearing, 3011, is the best suit that we have of those 3 because it already had we call it the fan pump separator was changed out, and all that work was completed. It had some flushing of the water done, so we knew that was going to be one of the 2 used. The other 2 were sort of both equally suspect, if you will. And just recently, in the last few days, based on a lot of meetings and trying to figure out what's the right answer, which is the right suit, and we've changed out the fan pump separator in 3005, and those are the 2 suits that will be used outside. It's a lot of work. You diving into the bowels of that backpack of the suit and changing out pieces and parts that suit technicians do in a lab here in Houston with white outfits and all kind of special tools, not necessarily made to be done on board the space station.
Sure, yeah, we've been watching a lot of that take place. In fact, they're still working on that today.
Yep.
Again, thank you so much for coming out and talking with us today. I think that's about all the time we have now, but we really do appreciate you coming out, and good luck on your run on Friday.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot. Nice to see you.
Thank you.